Hey everybody, welcome back to 2 Acres Evolving. Today it feels amazing outside, so I finally get to get out and do some work out in the yard. Last week at this time it got down to negative 13 degrees and today it's 72 degrees and it completely feels like spring out here. So I'm gonna get out here and do some work in the front yard and the backyard. I've got a few things that I need to clean up. I've got some perennials that I should have cut back a long time ago that I never did. So I'm gonna cut those back and get those ready for spring. And then I've got actually have some weeds that I've got to pull in some of my flower beds, unbelievably. I have some containers that I've got to clean out, and I have some dirt that I need to clean up from something that I was working on before all the cold and the snow hit. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the camera around and show you what I'm gonna be working on. All right, so the first area that I'm gonna be working on is this area over here in this grouping of trees. As you can see, the dogs have had a little bit more fun out here. So I've got to clean this up again. And I'm considering removing this rock pathway. It was looking really good, but with the dogs, it's just not looking good at all. So I need to come in here and clean all this up. And then I have some perennials like these lamb's ear that I'm going to cut back. And these alliums, I need to cut these back as well. I have these African daisies over here that are dead. They can't survive our winters, especially the winter we've had this year. So I'm going to be removing those. And then this flower bed over here, I have some weeds that have popped up that I need to come in and take care of. And then I've also got some stuff that I'm going to lay down to help keep the weeds from coming back. And then over here in the pond area, I have a few weeds that I need to take care of, but for the most part, this area over here is looking okay. Actually, it was 70 degrees yesterday, and I have a little bit of snow over here where the sun can't get to. But I think that's the only snow I have on my entire property now. And then this area over here with the fire pit, these containers did so good this year, but with the extreme temperatures and all the snow we got, they did not make it. So I'm going to be clearing all of these out and get these ready to plant back up in the spring. And I might build a fire tonight if I have time. And then once I get all this done, I will move to the front yard. So the stuff that I've used for this flower bed to control the weeds is this Easy Weeder. It's a flower and garden weed preventer. This won't hurt your flowers or anything that are in flower beds. It just helps keep the weeds away. Now there are instructions on different plants on the back. There's quite a list there for if you're using them in a vegetable garden or using them when you're planting seeds and stuff like that. And it has different vegetables and stuff to watch out for. So if you decide to get this, just make sure you read the directions on the back to keep from having any issues. But for the most part, it's not going to damage any plants. Alright, so now that I got those areas cleaned up, I wanted to come out here and work on this area a little bit. Before we had that snowstorm, I came out and I dug out the edging of this area. So basically, this side over here is all going to be pathways and flower beds all along here. And then this side over here is all going to be lawn. I'm going to come through and plant grass seed this spring and get the yard looking good. But I wanted to cut out the edge to kind of get an idea of what I wanted it to look like. And I curved it around, and it comes all the way down here. And then it curves back around. And then I ended it right here. This is where the planter wall will end up being. I still have to complete that. I haven't been able to work on that much lately. But that planter wall will come all the way down here and will connect where I have the edging cut out right there. And then it'll go straight back that way, the planter wall. And then I'll have another arbor over on this side to access the wooded area down here. But since I've got all this cut out, actually from this angle you can kind of see it a little bit better how the shape I have it. I'm very excited to get grass planted and for it to all green up, because then you'll really be able to tell the shape. And then all this over here is going to be flower beds and pathways. I have some old Christmas lights out here. The other day I came out here and I put them down. Obviously that's not a perfect circle, but I just laid them out to where I wanted specific flower beds. And then I have old Christmas lights that don't work over here on this one as well, to kind of form the flower bed. Because at the moment, I normally would use a water hose or paint, but I didn't have any spray paint with me, and I was using the water hose for something else. So you just got to do what you got to do and use anything you can to form the shape of the flower bed. But this area along here where I have all this cut out, I had it stopped right here, and then I started it again a little bit over here. This gap right here is going to be a place where I can drive through to access the backyard. And this fence is going to be going. And I'm going to be putting a new fence in, and I'll probably move the gate over a little bit and have a different gate so that it lines up with this entrance right here. But along this side where I have it cut out, I'm thinking about doing a hedge of hydrangeas all the way down through here, and then have the hedge of hydrangeas stop where I'm going to have another opening, which I cut it out all the way, but I've decided that I'm going to do an opening probably about right here where the curve is right here. So I'll have a hedge of hydrangeas from that point all the way down to that gap over there. So I think that's going to look great. But right now what I'm going to do, I just wanted to walk around and kind of give you an idea of what things are going to look like. I'm going to have a flower bed along this fence line, and I'm going to be changing that fence up as well, so to something that looks a little bit better. But there's going to be a flower bed all the way down this fence line, and then just pathways and more flower beds. So this area is going to be changing drastically, hopefully this year. I really want to focus on this specific area and get this area done and planted so that it can start growing in. So you'll be seeing a lot of this area this year, along with other things in the front yard. But as you can see, I still have all the dirt piled up here. Whenever I did this, I did it right before that winter storm came through, and I didn't have a chance to clean it all up. So I'm just gonna set the camera up and get all this cleaned up. So I got this area cleaned up for the most part, and it looks a whole lot better without all that dirt on there. And the wind has picked up, so I'm sorry if you can hear the wind coming through. What I plan on doing, I don't think I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about this area, but along this line right here, I'm going to put about 4 foot or maybe a 5 foot flower bed all along here. Something that will be big enough to where I can put the hydrangeas in. I don't want hydrangeas that get too big. The ones that I have now get 6 to 8 feet tall and wide, and I don't want hydrangeas in this area to be that tall because I want to be able to see over them from the house. So I want something that gets maybe 3 foot, maybe 4 foot tall in this area, and something that will complete a full hedge. Now I found an app online that let me put in what I'm thinking in my head of what I want this area to look like. It's obviously not perfect because I was doing it on my phone and I had to use my finger to draw different things. But I'll post a picture up on the screen of what that looks like. The app that I used for that is called iScape, and I like this app because I can go in and put things, maybe not exactly what I have in my head, but pretty similar to what I'm thinking of what I want to do in this area. Today it felt like spring out here, and you don't know how hard it was for me not to go and buy a bunch of plants and start planting things today. But it's a little early. I'm afraid if I did that we would have another freeze and it would kill everything that I planted. So I decided not to even go to the garden center today to even look at the plants, because I know that if I went there that I would be buying stuff. But it's not gonna be too much longer, and I'm gonna be able to do that. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.